Ladies and gentlemen of the free world, or what's left of it after the taxman takes his cut, welcome back to the Stateless Standard, where we shine our golden torch on the absurd underbelly of state power. I'm your host, peering through the fog of government secrecy, and today we're unearthing a relic of Cold War madness that makes even the most hardened libertarian chuckle in disbelief. Picture this. It's 1973. A washed-up cop named Pat Price sits in a sterile room at Stanford Research Institute, eyes shut, handed nothing but latitude and longitude scribbles. No photos, no hints, just numbers. He claims he's tunneling into a mountain in Alaska. Galleries carved through rock, humming machinery, and, hold on to your tricorn hat, non-human technicians scurrying about. He even names the peak, Mount Hayes. Turns out it's real, on actual maps. The CIA logs it all, files it under restricted, and wonders if they've struck psychic gold, or fool's gold. This wasn't some fringe cult ritual. It was taxpayer-funded spycraft under code names like Scanate and Grill Flame, precursors to the crown jewel of bureaucratic boondoggles, Project Stargate. In today's video, we will break down how America's intelligence overlords, in a fit of paranoid one-upmanship with the Soviets, poured millions into remote viewing. Essentially, government-sanctioned crystal ball gazing for spies. We'll trace its origins in Cold War hysteria, the methods that sound like rejected X-Files plots, the key players who blurred the line between pioneer and patsy, the hits that kept the checks flowing, and the inevitable crash when even the spooks couldn't justify the circus. Spoiler, it's a masterclass in why the state can't innovate without turning innovation into idiocy. If you've ever suspected your IRS dollars fund more than just endless wars, buckle up. This is Project Stargate, the CIA's psychic spy fiasco. Let's ignite the truth. The 1970s, a decade of disco, détente, and the faint whiff of defeatism in Washington. The US had already choked on Sputnik's dust and tripped over MKUltra's LSD-laced skeletons. Now whispers from defectors painted a nightmare. Soviet labs churning out telepaths who could pilfer secrets from locked vaults or fry circuits with a glare. The KGB, they said, was weaponizing the woo-woo, psychokinesis, biocommunication, the works. Naturally, the CIA, that evergreen emblem of statist excess, couldn't let the Red Menace win the psychic arms race. Enter 1972. The agency drops a hush-hush contract on Stanford Research Institute in Menlo Park, California. Not some back-alley astrologer, mind you. SRI was a legit think tank, home to laser pioneers. Dr. Harold Puthoff and Russell Targ, physicists with credentials longer than a senator's expense report, take the bait. Their mandate? Prove extrasensory perception isn't just parlor tricks. And crucially, if it can smoke out enemy bunkers sans satellite flyover. They dub it Scanate. Scan by coordinate. Cynics might call it scan for your superior's approval, but in the fever dream of mutually assured delusion, it was destiny. Washington, ever the gambler with other people's money, figured, why not bet the farm on mind over matter? After all, if the Soviets were doing it, the free market of ideas demanded a counterbid. Except this market was rigged by force, your force, via payroll deductions. So how does one operationalize the occult for Uncle Sam? Simple in theory, remote viewing. A viewer, often a civilian recruit with a knack for the numinous, gets raw coordinates. No context, no cheat sheet. They relax into a trance, perhaps aided by Monroe Institute tones, those brain-sinking frequencies that make your molars hum. Journals fill with dream fragments, sketches emerge, jagged peaks, warehouse doors, harbor cranes. Post-session, analysts cross-check against recon photos. Match, a hit, miss, feedback loop for the next go-round. It was formalized pseudoscience, cloaked in lab coats. Viewers practiced on everything from mundane mills to mystery mounds, honing what Puthoff called perception at a distance. Cynical observers, present company included, see the rot here. The state, allergic to voluntary exchange, co-ops private ingenuity, SRI's brainiacs, and twists it into a taxpayer teat for endless experimentation. No profit motive to cull the chaff, just inertia and imperial ego. Yet remarkably, it produced logs that even skeptics can't fully debunk or dismiss as delusion. No caper like this without colorful characters, and Stargate delivered a rogues gallery of reluctant revolutionaries. Pat Price, the ex-cop with a Sears squint, nailed that Alaskan anomaly, Mount Hayes, complete with extraterrestrial echoes. Was he tapping the veil, or just a lucky guesser on the government's dime? Then there's Ingo Swann, a lanky New York artist whose sketches pierced the veil of Venusian clouds and Jovian storms. Details later vouched by NASA's Pioneer 10. Swann didn't stop at solar system sightseeing. He charted lunar lights and Martian mausoleums, feeding intel that had brass scribbling memos in the margins. Angela Della Fiora Ford, the intuitive tracker, pinpointed fugitive Charles Jordan's Wyoming hideout. Body found right where her pencil scratched. Joseph McMoneagle, the decorated viewer, Legion of Merit, no less, sketched Soviet subs before spy sats spotted them, turning parlor games into purported panacea. And don't forget Puthoff and Targ, the re-savants who bridged quantum quirks to clairvoyance, all while cashing CIA checks. These weren't wild-eyed woo-pushers. They were professionals prodded by the powerful, their talents funneled into the maw of militarized mysticism. In libertarian terms, it's class warfare distilled. The stateless curious, conscripted by the statist syndicate, their gifts ground into geopolitical grist. One wonders, in a free society, might Swann's visions vault voluntary ventures, not vanish into vaulted vaults? Now the meat. What did these mind probes unearth? The hits were humdrum heroes at first. NSA bunkers in Virginia, Soviet labs via SatSnap matchups. Price's priceless precision on enemy hardware kept the coffers creaking open. McMoneagle's sub-sightings, decorated as intel gold, Ford's fugitive find, eerily effective. But oh, the outliers. The anomalies that turned Stargate from spy tool to sci-fi sideshow. Swann, handed lunar lat long without a whisper, describes terraced towers aglow with activity. Human-like but not human, shadows flitting. Mars sessions? A viewer time warps to 1,000,000 BC, sketching a dying world. Thin air plateaus, shattered spires, tall beings hunkered in bedrock hives, awaiting aid that never came. Engineered, not natural, he notes. Pyramids on a red plain, perhaps? Training runs on Earth icons fared freakishly well. Giza's guts, with sealed shafts and shift stones echoing Egyptologists' whispers, Stonehenge's ritual radii, Nazca's naughty lines. Viewers, siloed from each other's scripts, converged on energy anchors, standing waves, ley line lingo sanitized to non-local fields. Advanced acolytes under Swann delved deeper, brushing what he dubbed the Akashic Records. Light libraries of lore, sans shelf or spine. Military monitors blanched, rephrasing to conceptual archives. Routine ops peppered the weirdness, drug bust leads, hostage hunts, but the cosmic cameos? They begged the question, was Stargate stumbling onto something sublime, or just subsidizing spaced-out stargazing? From an anarcho-capitalist lens, it's damning. The state, starved for scarcity's discipline, breeds bloat. Private psychonauts might map the multiverse for mutual gain. Instead, the CIA's cabal conjures costly curiosities, all on the people's pilfered purse. Funding? A black-budget bonanza. From that 72 CIA seat, it ballooned. Army intel, DIA, even NSA dispatched dazzled delegates. Millions flowed through the 80s, grill flame to center lane, sunstreak to Stargate proper, buoyed by operational successes like sub-sketches and stiffs spotted. Fort Meade's Psi platoon ran real-time reads, from narco nodes to POW pins. Cynicism peaks here. No market signal to scream stop. Just senators nodding off on briefings, green-lighting graft disguised as grit. The powerful plunder the productive, per Austrian axiom, and Stargate's a sterling specimen, statism's subsidy for the supernatural, dooming dollars to delusion. By 93, the jig was up. Oversight owls hooted about costs, $20 million squandered, and value, vapor thin. The CIA commissions the American Institutes for Research their 95 verdict, no verifiable intel wins. Zilch on ops that stuck. Stargate shutters, DIA hands the keys back, and the program poofs into posterity. 2014's FOIA floodgates unleash the gems. Martian minarets, pyramid phantoms, off-world oases. Skeptics scoff, pseudoscience's poster child, a wastewater tale of wishful Washington. Yet the docs? Meticulous. Hits on hostages and hardware lingered unrefuted. Post-mortem, McMoneagle and crew pivot to civilian consciousness quests, sans spook strings. The official obit? Failure. But in the margins, patterns persist. Human potential, perhaps, peeking past the paradigm. Or just another state scam, substantiating Mises's quip, government expands to absorb all error. There you have it, fellow freedom fighters. Project Stargate, the CIA's clairvoyant cash incinerator. A cynical symphony of state-sponsored sorcery that underscores why the powerful fear the free. In a stateless society, such quirks might flourish as folk pursuits, not fiscal fiascos. Thanks for tuning in to the Stateless Standard. If this exposed enough empire absurdity to light your inner torch, smash like, subscribe, and drop in comments. Remote view the state's end. What's your first target? Until next time, question the coordinates, reclaim your consciousness, and remember, liberty's no illusion, but government's sure as hell trying to make it one.